Before the setup process, make sure you initialize each of these three items. If your SD card has previously been used in another device, make sure that you full format the SD card using a computer before formatting the card again using the GoPro camera. Make sure the GoPro camera's firmware is up to date, which can be done using one of the GoPro apps. And make sure UpBlink's firmware is up to date, which can be done through the web-based user interface or from a file on a USB stick. To set up UpBlink, you'll need a U3 rated SD card, which is required by the GoPro camera, and a 5-volt 2-amp power supply that has an always-on feature. The always-on feature is important because UpBlink draws very low power when it's not triggering the camera, and this prevents the battery pack from automatically turning off. What you don't need is the GoPro battery, so you want to remove that from the GoPro camera. The SD card is inserted into the same compartment as the battery. UpBlink communicates with the GoPro camera via our custom USB-C cable, which connects to the side port of the camera. UpBlink is then powered by a micro USB cable, which connects to your always-on power supply. When UpBlink is powered, you should see the LED flash green twice. Now to activate UpBlink's programming mode, hold down the button until the LED flashes green once a second. While the LED is flashing once per second, this means that UpBlink is starting to boot up its Wi-Fi access point signal, which is used for programming. Once the Wi-Fi signal is active, the LED will flash green quickly before continuing to flash green once every 5 seconds. Now that the UpBlink's Wi-Fi signal is active, you can connect to it from a smartphone or computer to program UpBlink schedules using a web browser. The UpBlink's programming page is only available when connected to UpBlink's Wi-Fi access point signal. If you navigate to UpBlink's programming page while not connected to UpBlink's Wi-Fi signal, you may see an error page similar to this. To connect to UpBlink, open your Wi-Fi connections menu. UpBlink's network name always begins with UpBlink, although the appended text can be adjusted in the programming interface. The default password to connect to UpBlink is 1234567890. If you're using a smartphone, you may also get a pop-up notification indicating the internet is not available, which needs to be acknowledged before the phone switches to using the local Wi-Fi connection rather than your mobile data plan. When connected to UpBlink's Wi-Fi signal, you will not have external internet access. When your Wi-Fi is connected to UpBlink, access the UpBlink programming user interface by opening a web browser, such as Chrome or Safari, and navigate to the URL http://10.0.0.5:5000. This status box will display communication status between your browser page and UpBlink, as well as information about your program schedules, such as unsaved changes or scheduling errors. The UpBlink user interface has tooltips located throughout the page, and hovering over or clicking on them can provide additional information on a feature. If your GoPro camera is on and communicating with UpBlink, the camera status will be displayed here in this top menu. Menus throughout the user interface are revealed by clicking on the down arrows and hidden by clicking the up arrows. Before beginning to program UpBlink, the first thing to do is click the Sync Time button to push the time zone and date information from your device to the UpBlink. The status box will display if your device has successfully communicated the request to UpBlink. You should also see the current time update to match your device's clock time and date. To create a capture schedule,
click on any of the numbered schedule headers. Each schedule will become active when the enabled days between the active date periods and times selected. When a button is enabled, it will be highlighted blue, and disabled buttons are white. When a valid schedule is enabled, the schedule header will also become highlighted blue. When between the active date periods on enabled days, the start time is when the schedule will begin, and the schedule will remain active until the clock reaches the end time. When the schedule is active, the interval is how often the camera will be triggered to turn on to perform the action selected below. The interval must be a whole number, which can be in hours, minutes, or seconds. The once option ignores the interval and end time to perform a single trigger action at the schedule's start time. When triggering a schedule's action, UpBlink will switch the camera to the selected capture mode and will use the default settings for each of the capture modes that has been set in the GoPro camera's menu. If you program a scheduling error, the problem area will be highlighted, a message will appear in the status box, and the Save button becomes disabled until the problem is fixed. Once you've finished programming, click the Save All button to write the schedules to UpBlink. You should also see the next active event in the top status box update. Note that UpBlink will not trigger any of these schedules while the programming mode is still active. To upload footage to CloudX, the UpBlink needs to obtain an internet connection. This connection information can be found within the Upload Schedule menu. It is important to test that your UpBlink can obtain an internet connection from your program settings by clicking on the Test Connection button once your connection settings have been programmed. The connection to the internet can be obtained by connecting to a Wi-Fi network or from a USB Ethernet device connected to UpBlink's USB port, such as a USB cellular modem. If using a USB mobile hotspot that broadcasts a Wi-Fi network, this modem should also be connected to UpBlink's USB port. To conserve power, UpBlink only powers its USB port for programming mode and upload triggers. Therefore, a USB port accessory should not have a battery, since this battery will not be consistently recharged by UpBlink's USB port. An email address is required to contact CloudX to register your device with an account. CloudX accounts are automatically created when an UpBlink contacts with a new email address. And when a new CloudX account is created, you'll be sent an activation email to set up your account's login details. Once your internet connection detail has been programmed, we recommend you first save your schedules, although UpBlink will search using the current unsaved information entered in the programming page. Click the Test Connection button to begin the test for internet connectivity. Testing for a Wi-Fi network, UpBlink will turn off its Wi-Fi access point signal to search for the Wi-Fi network programmed. This will disconnect your device from UpBlink. You will need to reconnect to UpBlink's Wi-Fi access point signal once the Wi-Fi search is complete. If you run a test connection without an email address, UpBlink will check for an internet signal, but will not register with CloudX. If the connection to the internet is successful, this will also check if a newer UpBlink firmware version is available to be installed. After a Wi-Fi search, this drawer will update to contain a list of Wi-Fi networks located by UpBlink and the signal strength of each network. This test connection button should always be used at your deployment site to determine if you have a reliable signal strength. An upload schedule is programmed in the same way as a capture schedule, with set dates, times, days, and intervals. However, an upload schedule's action relates to which files are indexed and how to upload these files. When programming multiple schedules, UpBlink can only trigger a single schedule's action at a time. If there is a conflict between the triggering times, priority goes to the action that is currently active. No scheduled action is currently active, the lower numbered schedule takes triggering priority, and the other schedule's action will be skipped. Therefore, you should ensure that the triggering times between schedules are offset. The upload schedule has a maximum upload duration, which is the longest amount of time UpBlink will spend uploading footage. This timeout option can be used to make sure that your upload schedule does not interfere with capturing footage when you're uploading between capture triggers. The timeout can be set for a longer duration, not uploading between capture triggers, or you would like uploading files to have priority over capturing new footage. If UpBlink completes uploading all files before the timeout period has elapsed, the upload action will end early. If the upload timeout period elapses, the upload action will end, and any remaining untransferred footage will be placed in a backlog, pending transfer on the next upload trigger. If you have a backlog of files that have not transferred, the number of pending files will be displayed here. All footage captured by UpBlink will be saved to the SD card at the resolution set from the GoPro camera menu. However, to reduce data transfer size, UpBlink provides the option to upload a compressed file. To determine which file should be uploaded, UpBlink provides two options. The Upload Latest option will only check for the most recently captured file at the time of the upload trigger to be added to the upload list. The Upload All option will add to the upload list all footage captured after a set date. UpBlink tracks the timestamp for the most recently indexed file from the upload schedule and will not attempt to upload files that have been captured before this timestamp. To clear this timestamp index, as well as delete the list of reference files that are backlogged, click the Delete Backlog button. Once you've finished programming, click the Save button to write the schedules to UpBlink. For assistance with programming while avoiding conflicts, UpBlink has a few common example schedules that can be loaded using the options at the bottom of the programming interface. Once your schedules have been programmed and saved, scroll to the top of the page to click the Restart and Capture Mode button. This will end UpBlink's programming mode and turn off UpBlink's Wi-Fi access point signal. Once programming mode is ended, UpBlink will resume capture mode and begin triggering your programmed schedules.
When you first get it, you may need to adjust the camera bracket to fit your specific camera model. To open the door, press the gray tabs on the side and lift the latches. Now to adjust the bracket, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. To fit your camera model, you'll need to slot the pegs into the keyholes that match your camera. The lower keyholes are for the Hero 4 and older camera, and the upper keyhole is for the Hero 5 and newer camera. There are matching keyholes on the top corner. With your camera securely in place, the next step is to connect your camera controller. Make sure you reference the tutorial for your camera controller before proceeding. The controller connects to the USB-C port on the side of the camera. Our enclosures include a battery pack that has an always-on feature, which is important for use of our controllers. Connect the power to the camera controller and insert all the components into the enclosure. When closing the enclosure, it's very important to make sure that the O-ring is clear from debris and cables to ensure a watertight seal. To connect solar power to your enclosure, connect the ball mount to the top of the enclosure. Make sure to use a lock washer. There's a second mounting hole if you wish to connect two solar panels, as well as a cable to connect them together. Next, put the cable through the bottom of the enclosure through the cable gland. To do this, loosen the cap before threading the cable through. Slide the bushing into the cable gland and tighten. Connect your battery charging adapter to the end of the cable and make sure it snaps tight over the two ridges. And connect that to your battery's charging port. And connect your solar panel For AC power, run an extension cord to your enclosure. You'll need a USB wall adapter suitable to your country. Use the USB adapter, plug to one end of your power cable, plug that into the USB adapter, and thread the other end of the power cable through the cable gland at the bottom of the enclosure. To do this, you'll need to unscrew the cap before threading the cable through the hole. You'll then need to slide the bushing into the cable gland and tighten around the bushing. Now for the other end of the cable, attach your battery's charging adapter. It should snap tight over the two ridges and connect that on to the battery's charging port. The battery should light up to show that it's connected to external power. If you would like a licensed electrician to hardwire AC power into your system, you can do so by threading the power cable through the cable gland at the bottom. At the other end, attach the outlet suitable to your country along with the USB adapter. We have a blog post online that explains how to do this.